Welcome to this presentation. Let's talk about pedagogical grammar and its implementation in the classroom. Probably your first question is, what is pedagogical grammar? It is a modern way and a new option to teach grammar instead of continuing implementing the traditional method based on presentation of the topic, explanation, and practice. In addition, pedagogical grammar is a type of grammar that seeks a balance between the explicit and the implicit approaches. Now, let's see the differences between explicit versus implicit approaches. The main features of the explicit approach are: first, according to Schmidt, explicit learning focuses its attention directly on the information to be learned. Second, we have the conscious awareness. Students learn proper grammar, its structure, and memorize rules. Third, contents are presented, explained, and practiced in a guided way. Fourth, grammatical explanations should be very brief, no more than 10 minutes. Fifth, according to the Kaiser, explicit becomes implicit when learners has plentiful communicative practice. On the other hand, the main features of the implicit approach are: first, discovery-based method. Students will explore for themselves how language and grammar work. Second, vocabulary is important. Third, the methodology is imitation, trial, and error. Fourth, correction is done by practicing. Fifth, students practice in a realistic context. Sixth, according to Ellis, the meaning of a word is acquired totally unconsciously as a result of abstractions from repeated exposure in a base of activated context. Other important points to highlight and remember with regard to pedagogical grammar include: first, pedagogical grammar connects both the pedagogy and real-life use of grammar. Second, promotes a change in the methodology of the teaching and learning process and allows a new perspective to the traditional methods. Third, helps non-native speakers to achieve fluency and accuracy of speech rather than focus on the theory. Fourth, teachers are facilitators during the learning process of the grammatical competence and do not impose it to the learners. Fifth, mainly oriented on how to teach and learn a foreign language. Sixth, according to Greenbaum, pedagogical grammars teach the language and not about the language. 7. Grammar competence is developed in real context, so bear in mind that explanation of rule is not the only way to achieve it. But how can we implement pedagogical grammar in the classroom? Firstly, please take into consideration some of the main tasks of pedagogical grammar, which are the following. Number 1. Set grammatical objectives according to your lesson plan, textbook, or syllabus. Number 2. Specify grammar rules and share those rules to learners. It could be done by illustration, discovery of rules by students themselves, explanation, and others. Number 3. Set learning aims for specific activities. Decide what would be the main purpose of the activity to improve learning. Number 4. Select the methodology. Create, design, and plan the grammar activities to be implemented with the students. And the last one, number 5, test the grammatical competence and performance. Secondly, keep in mind the 4 stages of grammar learning or the cognitive learning model, which surely help your students to improve their grammar skills. Number 1 is awareness, where learners pay attention and observe new grammar. Number 2 is conceptualization. It refers to the acquisition of new knowledge. Learners incorporate new rules, and under this category, there are four general ways of acquiring a new language. The first one is by explication, or learning by understanding. The second one is by exemplification, or learning by sensing. The third one is by exploration, or learning by reflecting. And the last one is by utilization, or learning by using or doing. Number three is proceduralization. This stage is focused on the practice of oral and written activities to guide the learning towards the performance stage. This stage connects competence and performance. And number four is performance. In this stage, learners can use grammar in open contexts. Input and output are not part of these stages, but they both played an important role in the learning process, so let's define them. Input refers to the materials, including textbook and activities, provided by the teacher, and how the information is processed by learners using their existing knowledge and cognitive processes. On the contrary, output refers to what students say or write. In other words, it refers to the student's own production. Finally, please take note of the following relevant tips to implement pedagogical grammar in your classroom successfully. First, teachers should design new activities, innovate, and create context to promote the teaching and learning process of the English language and its grammar. Second, students should discover for themselves how grammar works, so it is important to encourage them to use different cognitive strategies. Third, pedagogical grammar can be implemented by using different methods to stimulate and guide the learning of grammatical rules, but always emphasizing the acquisition of the language by interacting in the real world. That exposure to the real environment will encourage a meaningful performance as well as a deep understanding and learning of the grammatical rules. Fourth, grammatical explanation should be very brief and easy, no more than 10 minutes per 1 hour session. Fifth, contents should be presented gradually, giving time for learners to carry out the activities, experiment, discover, make mistakes, and learn in a significant way. Thank you for your kind attention.